Well, then, yeah, of course. Then I went straight to Pornhub. Once YouTube started like blocking that, like it was like girls sliding around in oil kissing. And I was like, well, I'm confused. I'm 14. Like, this is a weird scenario. Why are they in a baby pool?
Hey, y'all. Welcome back to Made It Out. Today is a very important day for many reasons. It's November 5th, Election Day. I know you've heard me all over social media stressing how important this election is, but I just want to remind you one more time in the final hour, if you have not already, please go vote. Get out to the polls today. It is also a very important and special day because it is Made It Out's 1 year episode number 52. Matilda and I just want to thank you guys for being around for the past year. We are very, very grateful for the community that we've built. This is what we do full time now, and we're both very happy to be working on this around the clock. We want to bring you more shows, more content. We have a lot more coming soon, but I just want to remind you that the number one way to help us is to leave us a review or a rating on Spotify. It literally takes 2 seconds to go click that little star button on Spotify. Again, we just want to thank you all. We love you all very much. So we've done 51 episodes that are all the same. For our 1 year, we're going to break form a little bit. Our good friend Ali Saarela is here, and she's an inventor.
Me.
You invented a game that we're going to play today. Can you tell us a little bit about the game, how to play, how it came about?
Yeah, I can't wait. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm so excited. The game is, well, basically a get to know you game. It's a game for queers, by queers, designed to build deep connection. So you could play it with someone who is or isn't queer, but a lot of it is designed to get to know your queer journey, basically past, present, and future. And that's what the phases are.
I love it. Okay. Are you ready to play?
Yeah. What did coming out teach you?
That my gut instinct is always right. And I should always follow my gut, even when the whole world is going to tell me that it's wrong, incorrect, or not the way I should be moving or the direction I should be moving in.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. I feel like there's so many lessons before that you kind of get that. Listen to your gut, listen to your gut. Mm-hmm. And then finally, when you're like confident and comfortable enough to come out, you're like, oh, yeah, that's what all those like lessons were. It was like, listen to your body.
Doesn't it feel like then it's kind of this unraveling of all these other things? Like
hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah.
You're looking back and you're like, right. I like all these times that it was like really kind of screaming to come out.
Yeah.
Like your body was like knowing, like I think back on even like people you dated that you just like weren't into, or like there's all these things that you thought were like, okay, well we can do this and make it work.
Yeah.
But your intuition was underlying like, this kind of sucks.
This isn't right.
Yeah, like this isn't right.
This episode is brought to you by Squarespace. Building a website does not have to be something you dread. Squarespace is an all-in-one website platform to help you stand out online. Whether you're just starting out or managing a growing brand, Squarespace makes it so easy to create a website, engage with your audience, and sell anything from products to content to time, all in one place and all on your terms. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, www.squarespace.com/dothework to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Okay, you go.
Who was your sexual awakening?
I didn't really realize it at the time, but I was watching Stick It a lot.
Favorite movie.
And like, to be fair, I think a current version of Stick It, she would be queer. She opens the movie like dressed in men's clothes, like where you're kind of like, is this a guy? She's riding bikes with these guys doing like BMX tricks. And she's so badass.
Yeah.
And I was just like so into her. But I was so little that I was like, you know, when you're like, I don't know if I want to be them or I'm obsessed with them. Like,
yeah.
So I think that was kind of my like, oh, I'm going to watch this over and over. Like that was a sexual awakening for me that I kind of didn't realize even was until later. I was like, right, I really liked her.
That movie, I didn't watch it until recently.
And what'd you think?
I feel like if I would have watched it forever ago, maybe that would have led
you would have clicked.
Because it's so queer coded.
Yes.
That character is queer coded.
Yeah, and she's like not into any of the guy. Like she's like, they're just my friends. I'm like, yeah. Which is also happens, but like the way they set her up was she was very, to me, like felt queer.
Yeah, I think it was a great movie. Mm-hmm. I loved it. But yeah, I was like, I wish I would have I had this forever ago.
I know. I was watching it when I was 10, but I was also watching a lot of things that like didn't click, you know?
Yeah. What else?
Like I remember watching Glee and Britney and Santana hooking up and being like really interested in that. Being like, oh, I've never seen like a femme queer person. I also like, I watched every Kristen Stewart movie. So like
you were just like the typical gay.
But I didn't, it was like before she was out and I was like, I just think she's an amazing actress. Like, I was like, I'm going to watch I watched every indie film she made. Like I've seen almost every movie she's ever been in, but I didn't know why I was watching them. I just thought like, that's art. Like she's a good actress.
That's art. Isn't it weird how we're just like drawn to these
especially
people?
Other queer people that you don't even know. Like I was like, she's not out, but there was some energy that she gave off even like through the screen that I was like, I'm super into that. So I like that. I watched every movie. Like random ones that no one's heard of. I've seen them. Anyway, that's for another day.
Kristen Stewart fan club.
Yep, I'll start it. What would little you be the most proud of now? I like that one.
I think little me would be the most proud, kind of in the same vein of the first question, just that I'm following my instincts. I'm following what I always knew I wanted to do. When I was little, like I would dream about living in LA, in Hollywood, you know, like I don't know why. I'd never been there. I would just see, you know, like on TV, like someday I'm going to live in California. I'm going to be in Hollywood, like which Hollywood. Yikes, no. I don't live in Hollywood.
So maybe near Hollywood, but not in Hollywood. No shade on Hollywood. If anyone lives there, it's fun. It's a good time. But near Hollywood's good too.
Near Hollywood, yeah. And I don't know. I always had this instinct that like, I'm going to be there one day. I'm going to do something that's like performative and creative.
The little theater kid in you wanted to be like on a stage and you're doing it.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
So I think little me would be like, holy shit. And we're gay.
Yes. And like, don't you picture, like I think of little you picturing like you coming home from work in like a business outfit, like, you know, like in like little heels. Like I remember seeing my mom come home from work in like a suit and heels and being like, that's so cool. I can't wait to do that. Like the days where you feel really good like that to come home and be like, I'm doing it. Yeah. Like 10-year-old me would be proud. Yeah. That's so cute. I love that.
I love it. That's a good question. I love that one. All right. Did you have a dramatic coming out?
No,
you didn't.
No, I didn't, which is kind of funny because I feel like it's almost like juicier when people have these, not that it's like good. Yeah. Like I don't want people to be stressed. Yeah. Sorry. But I like am from California. I was like living in San Francisco when I came out, which is, I think, the gayest city in the country, like statistically. And, you know, it's dramatic it was almost more dramatic in all the little moments leading up to it. And then by the time I came out, it like wasn't dramatic at all.
Like dramatic with yourself?
Yeah. Like a lot of times in college, I remember like, again, hindsight's 2020. I would, you know, drink a lot in college because that was what we did. And then I would wake up and like my Bumble or Hinge would be on girls. And I'd be like, whoa. Who did that? Switches back. And then I would just like those moments were dramatic. Yeah. And then it's like by the time I actually hooked up with a woman and then like it felt comfortable. And I was like, oh, this isn't that big of a deal. I was like 23 or 24. Like it took me a little, like I also think because I wasn't in school, there's that thing when you have like all these peers that are like in high school or college, I think there's a different pressure. Yeah. I was old enough to know like what felt good in my body and what didn't. Yeah. And I was like, this feels really natural. Wow. Like it wasn't this like big dramatic thing. And then from there, unfortunately, even though San Francisco is so gay, because I'm from the Bay Area, I was running into people I knew, whether it be in person or like on apps. And that was kind of uncomfortable. So I didn't even feel that comfortable coming out there. I like moved to Denver and kind of like came out there. Yeah. And then like came back to California after that was done. It was like I wanted to do that somewhere that wasn't home.
Yeah, getting out of your bubble.
Yeah.
I like the way you put that. I think I've said this on here before, but I think there is something to when you come out later. There's obviously like advantages and disadvantages to everything. But when you come out later, you're so much more secure in just like who you are as a person or like
what feels good.
Yeah.
I think young women also don't, especially sexually, know what feels good. Like I was never focused on what felt good to me. With guys, it was kind of like male gaze all the time. Like how are they viewing the sexual experience? Yeah. And then when you're older, you even like, I don't know if this is true for straight women, but I think just women kind of age out of that, whatever your sexuality, I hope at least.
Just pleasing men.
Yes. So I think I was kind of aging out of that in general. And my view started to be more of like, does this feel good? So it was a lot clearer at 24 than it would have been at 16 that, yeah, this feels good. And that was like pretty simple at that point.
Did you have like a moment where that switched, or was it gradual?
I remember like I hooked up with this girl and hooked up, your first hookup with a girl is like, we probably like spooned.
Yeah.
But like I hooked up with this girl and I woke up and was like pretty calm about it. And I remember she had kind of had this more dramatic experience and she was like, you're so calm. Like I was freaking out because she had had that experience when she was like younger, maybe 18, 19. And it was a really big deal. And that also felt like a click to me of like, wow, I'm not freaking out.
Yeah.
And I always thought I would if this moment came. And I think I had anticipated it in all those small moments leading up to it. And then when it actually happened, it was almost like the other shoe dropped, like we're good.
Yeah.
Like we've been waiting for the other shoe to drop for so long and like it happened and like everything's fine.
Everything is still
I will say because it was like more recent, I guess relatively, like, what's within the last like 10 years for me. It was kind of funny, like the way technology chimed in of like, my friends had my location and they were kind of like, oh, did you sleep? Like, I see you two are in the same place. Like, people were kind of noticing it before I had the chance to say it. Or like, I put my Bumble or Hinge, I don't remember what I was using at the time, on women, and like another girl screenshot it and put it on her Finsta because she saw me on there. But I hadn't told people yet. So maybe she was like comfortable and like, I think she's maybe bisexual. I don't want to speculate, but she was comfortable sharing that because she was so comfortable, but I hadn't even like told my friends or family. And then people were texting me because it was on her Finsta.
Oh, fuck.
And I was like, this is a little, like that
You're
was a little.
outed a little
I
bit.
was a little, yeah. So like that's the most dramatic, but it was because I was older. I was kind of like, whatever. It's just like, who cares?
Yeah.
But it was a little bit like, okay, people are like tracking me literally. Like they know where I slept last night. I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, I did sleep there. But it was not dramatic. Like
I feel like that's nice to hear too, because I think you're right that the world just wants to hear these like
juicy,
really dramatic coming out stories. And it's like, it can also just be
like like this coming to realization. It's kind of this like slow burn.
Yeah. And I mean, I recognize that's not everybody's circumstance. And like, we're lucky, but
really lucky.
It is just, sometimes it's like, yeah, we're just gay.
It just happened. Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Squarespace. Building a website does not have to be something you dread or pay someone else to do. Squarespace makes it effortless. Whether you're just starting your business or managing a growing brand, Squarespace makes it easy to create a website, engage with your audience, and sell anything from products to content to time, all in one place and all on your terms. I felt really overwhelmed when I was building our website because I am not a web designer, but Squarespace just introduced a new feature called Design Intelligence that takes all of that worry away. Combining design expertise with cutting-edge AI technology, it guides you through the creative process, ensuring that anyone can create a great website tailored to their unique needs. Another great feature is Squarespace Payments, which makes it so easy to receive and manage your payments all in one place. You can connect all of your social media accounts to your website in just a few clicks. Check all of these amazing features and more by heading to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to www.squarespace.com/dothework to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Okay, dumbest thing you've ever done, go.
Okay, dumbest thing I've ever done. I've done a lot of dumb things.
I can't wait.
But this is just like truly when I think of the most unsafe, not thought through, just like truly could have been detrimental to myself and others. I had just turned 15. My parents went on some trip to like Mexico or something, and it was my homecoming dance that day. And so I was like, I'm skipping school. I have to do all of these things. I have to spray tan. I have to get my hair done.
I need 12 hours.
Literally. So I was like, I'm skipping school.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, oh, well, I need to get to these places. So I need to steal the car.
Did you have your permit?
I had never driven a car.
Did you crash?
No, I called my little boyfriend that lived down the street.
Okay.
The car was parked. My dad's Jeep was parked in our garage. I was like, can you come pull it out of the garage? I like don't want to hit anything or scrape it up.
Okay, that was
Smart.
honestly kind of smart.
From
know
my
your
point of
weaknesses.
view.
Know your weaknesses.
I was like, I have this all planned.
You're like, I can drive, but I can't park.
Yeah.
That's different.
Convinced my sister to skip school with me. We drove around all day, ran the most ridiculous errands. I literally did go get a spray tan.
Okay, you looked amazing though.
I did. My hair looked spot on. When I got back home, I had the guy come pull it back into the garage.
Okay.
My dad literally never found out. I just told him this like a couple years ago.
What did he say?
He was just like, all right.
So lucky you're okay.
Now we can laugh about it, but like literally stole the car at 15.
Damn.
Drove around all day.
That's bad.
That's bad. That is bad.
Because I think about my first time driving and like I didn't know how hard to press the pedal. You know what I like hit down and just like, whoa, like I think I would just have crashed into something if I drove around town alone and not like an empty church parking lot where there was no other cars and no other people. You're really lucky.
I'm like, how hard can it be?
Yeah, well, apparently not that hard. You're kind of a young genius. And also outsourcing to your boyfriend, CEO vibes. And you looked amazing at homecoming, I bet. Everyone's like, why does she look so good? She had all day. You guys all had like 2 hours.
You did this all after school.
Yeah.
Now's been up all day.
No, she's ahead. I love that.
Love it.
Okay, is it my turn?
Growing up, what were some obvious signs that you were queer?
You mean besides me watching Stick It and Bend It Like Beckham every day? This is so funny, and I don't think my mom would mind me sharing this, but I asked her if I was gay, and she said no. And now we're both like, I was like 11, I think.
Parents take note.
Yeah, I think she was trying to, I think I was stressed about it.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it since, and like we both laughed because clearly I was a little bit anxious because I remember thinking like, how do you know? I think I said, how do you know if you like men or women, or like, how would I know if I was gay? Because I was in like 6th grade and I remember not knowing the difference. And like people seeming really clear on that.
Yeah.
So I asked her if I was gay and she was like, no, you're not gay. And now we're both like, oh my God, if your kid is asking you that, if anyone...
They're probably gay.
Yeah. If your kid's asking you that, there's probably some truth there. Like for an 11-year-old to have that worry means there's some seed, growing.
Do you remember like what planted that?
I think just being at school, I don't remember I was too young that I wasn't thinking super like sexually, but even like my interests and like the relationships, I wasn't that focused on boys as like I was pretty like equally interested in like those relationships, whereas that starts to be the age where your friends are really like boy crazy. And the only times I was boy crazy was more like I like attention, but I was also like, my mom will laugh now too. And she said that I like really put a lot of emphasis on my female relationships, like even friends that were truly friends. But even looking back, like I put way more energy into my female friendships than I did most other things. Mm-hmm. And not that, like we should be building female, even like, our straight women friends should be building strong female relationships. But she was like, you always had like this like love and like place for like your girls, your ladies. Like I really like had this focus on it and was like really building those relationships. Yeah. And I remember being a little bit like, how does someone know what their sexuality is? Like I was already worried about it at like 11. And now we're like, oh, I guess I was right. Just took a little while.
That gut.
Yeah, that gut. Exactly. The gut feeling was there young.
Yeah.
Like it was there. Okay, I'm going to ask you one. How often do you cry?
I am a crier.
Okay.
How often do you think I cry, babe?
Probably at least once a week.
Oh, I was going to say like 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah, that feels like...
Yeah.
That feels right. I was going to guess that because I feel like we're kind of similar.
I'm Pisces rising.
Okay. It's like the empath. Like I'm not always... I guess the question could be clarified. Like, are you crying about yourself or are you just crying? Like if I cry more often because like if I see a sad story. When I watched the opening of The Bachelor with like the guy whose wife died.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm crying.
I'm crying.
Yeah.
But that's not like, I'm not crying because I'm depressed or about me, but like the empath in me is like, that's so sad. He needs love. Like,
I think
I
mine's
could
both.
cry. Yeah. I could cry pretty easily. So that's where it gets to like a few times a week.
Yeah, like once I'm
Yeah.
crying about myself, the other two I'm crying about movies.
There's a puppy that needs a house. I'm crying. Like, you know, I'm crying. I need to take like recently I've actually been trying not to go on social media right in the morning, which is easy to do. It's like you turn off your alarm and you're like, notifications. Because it's like sometimes you're just like letting sad stuff in. So I'm trying to be like, okay, I'm going to like give myself at least a few minutes to like warm up before I get whatever news is going on up here, because I'm pretty sensitive.
Compassion fatigue.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Crier.
I'm a crier.
How did you learn about queer sex?
How did everyone learn about queer sex? The internet.
Google.
YouTube was I was just YouTube and stuff.
But what were you YouTubing?
Like girls kissing.
Oh,
like
okay.
I just was like YouTube. I mean, again, to the signs we were gay, you know,
That's like so innocent. I skipped that. I was lesbian porn.
but I didn't know. Well, then, yeah, of course. Then I went straight to Pornhub. Once YouTube started like blocking that, like it was like girls sliding around in oil kissing. And I was like, well, I'm confused. I'm 14. Like, this is a weird scenario. Why are they in a baby pool? But I eventually was like, okay, I want to see more. And then I remember Netflix started to have some like, I remember like searching lesbian movies on Netflix and also Pornhub. Like in high school, I was like, just like lesbian sex. Like I was just like starting to figure out like, I want to see that and see what that feels like. And I just thought that like straight girls did that, and some do, which is the confusing part. Like, cause that porn is sometimes just like less aggressive.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of people are watching lesbian porn. So I didn't attribute it to like, yeah, I'm clearly gay. This is the only porn I'll watch.
See, we've had this talk on here before, and I have kind of a controversial take on it. I think that if you're watching lesbian porn, you're somewhere on the spectrum.
But I think she identifies as, I have a lesbian friend who watches gay male porn, and she's like,
yeah, that's where my argument does take a little bit of a hit. I will admit that.
And she's not, I mean, that I know of, still hooking up with men. Like, I think that that's also just another environment where it feels a little less aggressive, or at least if it's like very like mutual. You know, like
isn't
safer.
that intrinsically just queer?
It's still queer.
Like,
so we
if
could
you're
make that
just,
argument.
You're just watching something different than hetero sex.
You're watching queer porn. And we could just let the argument die there. We're into gay stuff, and we'll just stop there. Okay, my turn?
Yeah, your turn. Ooh. When do you feel the most confident?
I really am thinking about that lately. Like, I've been trying to build up places where I feel confident. So I think when I'm feeling like fully relaxed, when that like, maybe not necessarily like male gaze, but just like the view of yourself, when you're less self-aware, you know, like less self-conscious, where I'm just fully being present and I'm not thinking about the way I'm being perceived. So I like recently signed up for an improv class, which to me was the scariest thing I could think of.
That sounds fucking terrifying.
It's real, like it's so scary, but then it wasn't, you know, like I was like, that's the scary, like I was trying to think what is genuinely the scariest thing I could think of is like getting on stage in front of other people and not knowing what to say. And also like, I'm not on stage. It's a 101 class. There's like 12 people there, but like the confidence comes from just kind of releasing that, like, oh, okay. Like who cares how I'm being viewed? Like, I'm just going to shoot my shot and like go out there and do it.
Yeah.
That's when I feel the most confident, is like, I'm just stepping out. I can't plan ahead, which is good for someone like me who's in my head a lot. They just kind of throw out a scenario like, okay, you're a school teacher, go. And like in the moment, I'm just feeling like, okay, I have to be confident, or why am I here? Like that's what the point is.
I feel like a situation like that would make it, that's when I'm my least confident.
That's what I thought, which is why I was like, I need to challenge myself to do this, because it sounds so scary. And I feel like my confidence was feeling low when I signed up for the class. And when I leave there, I feel so much more confident, because I'm like, I did it. Like every time I leave, I'm like, I did that really scary thing.
Yeah.
It feels really good. And it doesn't mean I'm really good at it. And it doesn't mean I'm going to do it on a stage. But like, it's proved to me that I could do something that's challenging
and
scary for me. And that builds, so like, it doesn't need to be that you're like the best at that thing, whatever it is for someone. Like go take a dance class or sing if you don't have to be a good singer, but it's scary and you tried it and you proved like, okay, I could do this if I needed to. And like, that feels really good.
And then you can, I'm sure, channel that
in other areas of
in
your
other
life.
areas.
Yeah, just trying things that I'm unsure. I think that's hard for me when I'm not feeling confident, is trying things. Like it's just starting.
Yeah.
So like, okay, I don't know how to write this, or like if I get asked to shoot a video for something, I'm like, I've never done that before. That's not usually my area of expertise, but I'm like, okay, I'm just going to try it and edit it, see if they like it, and give it back to the client and see their feedback.
Yeah.
Oftentimes it goes pretty well. It's nice that I could run them by Rachel, and if they're like bad, she'll tell me. But like I'm starting to try to just like shoot my shot with stuff. Like that confidence comes with like stopping the second guessing.
Yeah.
Like just being little less self-aware actually, and just like being in the moment.
That's really, that's good advice. That's hard.
It's so hard.
I am someone who I have a hard time speaking on something unless I'm like really knowledgeable on a subject, and I can just kind of like
Scary.
Yeah. So like when somebody's like, oh, here's these notes on a few things, like now talk on it. That is like
and why
my worst nightmare.
Are you, I mean, I'm going to project a little, but like, why are you afraid of doing that, you think?
I think it's this notion that I would be perceived as like dumb.
Yeah, that's what I'm really afraid of, being perceived as stupid. I think especially, not to like, the feminine women have it pretty good, I think. But like, I think there's a lot of times where just when I think just being a femme, people will assume that I'm not smart. And that's been my experience, mostly with men, not as much with women, but it does happen that way too. So I think I kind of got this little like back of my mind thing that I'm not smart and that I'm not quick and that I'm not the person who'd be good at that. So going to do it, and even when someone asks you something that you're not fully like, I haven't read the textbook on this, who has, by the way?
Yeah.
But just saying like, well, I don't actually know, like it's okay to admit you don't know. And like, oh, I don't know, but like I'd love to learn together.
Yeah.
I think there's this moment of like, you're so afraid to be perceived as stupid. A lot of people probably don't know a lot of the things you get asked. You probably are like a lot more knowledgeable on some topics than I am, that a lot of people even asking you are. Like, you shouldn't get in your head about it.
I know. I think it's this thing. I didn't go to college, and I think there's a big thing there. Like, even though I worked a job right out of, like out of high school and things like that, I just think that something about this college thing where like, oh, you didn't go to school, you didn't get that,
Is in the back of your head.
Yeah, I think that really lives in there.
I could so understand that. So not to like not validate that, but I did, even in a sociology class at Berkeley, we talked about how a lot of times, one, we're reading books that anybody could read, but for a lot of people, a college degree now is an accessory. It's like they are well connected. They're getting the job because their parents know like I've gotten jobs through connections. It's not to say like I'm going to turn them down because it's not right, but the degree is this qualifying thing that I think is becoming less and less important. Like you are so smart, like watching you guys talk about politics this whole election season, I'm learning so much. I went to college. I don't remember a lot of the poli-sci classes that I had. Like I just studied for the final and got out of there. Like you're absorbing it as an adult and you're choosing to learn it. Like you should give yourself some credit, I think.
Aw, thanks. Yeah. That was very sweet.
Do you recharge your battery alone or with others?
Oh, I think you would think that I'm an extrovert, but I'm actually really introverted. I like to be alone.
I could see that because you're on so much.
Oh, yeah.
Like my friends who are like in PR or like in these jobs where it's super social, it's like you have to have downtime from something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could see that. Like that's so much energy that you put out.
Yeah. Like after a shoot, I'm like, I'm tired. I just want to like
zone out,
draw.
Yeah. That's such a like healthy, like get out of your head thing.
Yeah. I like to do that kind of stuff. Meditate, draw. I like to do yoga. Like I'm very just kind of, I need that time. And Matilda and I are very different in that way. She like recharges
with others
around people. Yes. And I'm like, you go out.
You do that.
I'm done.
I actually like that inspires me because I feel like I need only 2 days this week, but I'm trying to meditate right when I wake up. 1, for the phone don't touch thing, but 2, because I think it's like starting your battery full, like at the beginning of the day. Like I know I need that, but I haven't like found the hobby. Like I'm not that good of a drawer. Like I know they have coloring books, so like I could do that, but like something mindless.
Yeah.
Like meditating's good, but I also want to get in like a flow state of like, what could I do that's really like cooking for me is usually that, where I'm like, I'm thinking, especially when I'm not reading a recipe, of like how to do something, and it's kind of creative.
Totally.
So it's getting in like a state where I'm like not speaking and not taking in information from other people and just kind of like being in your body and like
total flow state.
Yeah.
I love that. So are you searching for another hobby?
Well, even as I'm saying it out loud, I was thinking like, I can tell when I'm happier that I'm cooking more. Like, I think I forget that makes me happy when I'm not feeling really relaxed. Like I hadn't been cooking the past few weeks. And then last night I made dinner and this morning I made pancakes and I was like, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Like I felt like cooking and I put my phone away and like put music on and like got into this fun little creative headspace of just like, what do I have in the kitchen? What can I make out of that? Like, I think it's a reminder for me to like lean on the hobbies I know I like more.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Last
one. How do you define your sexuality?
Oh, that's a goodie. Well, first of all, you don't have to.
Love that.
That's my answer. Like, you don't owe anyone anything. And if someone asks, you can just say like, oh yeah, I'm still like working that out too. Like, you really don't need to answer that question. I think that's important to know. But when I do, especially like to friends and family, like I don't need to feel defensive to them, where I'll be like, yeah, when I've thought about it, pansexual feels like it's kind of this all-encompassing. I'm really aware of the person that I like. When I have a crush, like I'm so into, sorry, there's a hair right in my lip gloss. There it is, we got it. When I have a crush, I'm like so into the person and their hobbies and their personality. And I think I used to think it was more physical, and then through time have realized like it's less physical, although it's nice when someone's hot, that I'm really into like the person, regardless of gender, regardless of, you know, how they're displaying, you know, their sexuality or their gender at all. And that felt the most all-encompassing to me. Pansexual is like, if someone's non-binary, if someone does find themselves on either side of a binary, I can still be really attracted to like a really confident, cool, artsy, well-dressed person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I've talked about this before on this podcast, but never hurts to remind that it's
Tell
like,
us.
I think it's important to have the conversation with yourself and like keep having that conversation. You don't have to fit into any labels, but like I jumped into the lesbian label because it was just like, oh, that's not it for me.
That's my past life.
Right. And I jumped into it, but I think it's been important for me to revisit and be like, oh, do I still stand there? Like, is that still how I feel?
Yeah.
And I always still land there, but
Checking in is good.
checking in and just like, also, feeling like you don't have to ascribe to a label, and they're there for people who want to find community and find other people who are like them. I think they're important in that way, but you don't have to fit into any of those binaries or those boxes.
I think I think it's like really easy for our brains to compartmentalize when we know a label. And that's not to say like, I do that. We all do that. Like, even I think most people feel comfortable, then they're like, oh, I understand you're this. Like that feels safe in a way. So it's easy for people to understand. I think that's why there's probably such a pushback when people are like, I can't say they, them. That's not grammatical. It's like, yes, you can.
Yeah.
You can figure it out. Like, it's not that hard to put it in your vocab. But I think that's because it feels like this, like, whoa, I don't understand which one this is. And it's like, it doesn't have to be one box thing. And same with your sexuality. It doesn't have to be like, do I see myself dating a man again? Probably not. But like, I'm attracted to such a well-rounded person that like, could that be found in a man? Maybe. I've just never met him or whoever. I think it's good that you check in, because there's this stigma of being like, I'm in the lesbian community, like bi girls aren't in this community. Like, it's okay. Like, you don't need to feel one way to be accepted by whatever the community is, whether it's lesbians or whoever. Just like to be honest with yourself.
I love it. I love this game.
Yay, I'm glad
you for
you love
bringing
it.
it. We're going to play my game now.
Okay, yay. Okay, on to your game.
Okay, you haul or you ghost.
I'm so excited.
She's perfect in every way except for this one weird thing.
Okay.
You use their bathroom and their toilet paper is flipped under and they're adamant that this is the correct way.
Okay, so disclaimer, when I really like someone, I'm like love blind. Like I have no clue what's going on in their house. I'm just like, you're cute. So definitely you all. Absolutely.
This would be a big red flag for me.
I like that would not bother me. I am particular in a lot of ways. Like maybe kitchen stuff would bother me more. Like please don't put the knife in the dishwasher. That's not right.
Really?
No, it's gonna get dull and rusty.
Oh my God.
Don't do that.
I didn't know this.
Sharp knives don't go in the dishwasher.
Wow.
Yes.
You learned something
That
new here
bothers
every
me.
day.
But also like I wouldn't get mad. I would just be like,
We're going to change this.
don't do that. But the toilet paper thing, I'm like, when I like someone, I'm just like so in it. Like I'm head over
But don't
heels,
you think
know?
if this person is so particular about this, they are not going to like me because they're going to look, I forget to refill the toilet paper. That is a common thing we talk about on this podcast.
That bothers me.
See, I forget that. And if they
That's a
want the
trigger.
if they want the toilet paper flipped a certain way, and sometimes I don't even make it to refill the toilet paper, it does not sound like me and this person are compatible.
Yeah, because that feels like so particular. And you're like, I'm just trying to get through the day. Like I put it on.
Literally. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck do you want from me?
I think for me, it's a U-Haul just because, again, there's so many bigger fish.
Yeah, fair.
Like, I'm over it.
That's fair. Okay. Oh my God. Every time they get turned on, they whisper, ooh, feisty.
Oh, that's tough. I mean, people have their things. I definitely have, like, had partners that do one thing. Like we all have kinks, whatever they may be, that like something you're weirdly into, whether you saw it when you were younger and you're in like that's stuck with you. Like,
yeah.
I have partners who have like done one thing every time you hook up. Like, does your finger need to be in my mouth every time? You know what I mean? Like, we're good. But then it's like when you really like someone, you're like, I'm turned on by you being turned on. Again, I could get over it.
Oh
like,
my God. Ooh, feisty.
Like I'm if you're hot, I'm cool with it.
All right. Again, this one, I mean, I guess if it's like you're perfect in every way, but no, I'm done.
I mean,
I'm
like
done. I'm
the
out.
example that I gave was even like it was like a high school guy that was doing that, where I'm like, I'm sure he's still doing that.
Yeah.
Because that's so specific.
Very specific.
You know what I mean? Like people just have kinks that it's like, that really did it for him. That's really doing it for someone. When I'm so attracted, I'm just like, it's over my head.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right.
I'm bad for this game. I'm
past
sorry.
this, maybe.
Like sometimes Rachel will be like, would you still like me if I did X? Like wore like this hoodie, or like my car had like flames on the side and it was like a PT. Like I'll just
Flames
be like,
on the side of the car is crazy.
but I'll just say like, well, I really like you. And she's like, you're so, like, this isn't fun. Like I'm ruining the game and I'm sorry.
Okay, what about this one.
Okay.
They keep referring to you in public
Okay.
as little lady.
Oh no, because that feels like, don't put me down.
Yeah,
Like
that's
now
true.
I'm mad.
That's true.
Like I'm pissed. I'm not a little lady. I'm a grown. I mean, and there's a time and place to be a little lady, but I'm also a grown ass woman. Like I'm trying to work on my confidence. You can't keep like calling me little lady. I don't want to feel small.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I'm trying to like hold my head up high. You know?
Okay, we found a ghost.
Okay, we found a ghost.
We found a ghost. No little lady.
Ghost.
Okay, she thinks your dog is ugly.
Well, I sometimes like ugly dogs. And I've been told this. I want like the one with like a snaggletooth and one eye. Like they need me.
Yeah.
I want something that like I come in the door and like you couldn't survive without me. So it's fine. U-Haul. Like you'll have to get over my dog. If you think I'm cute, you have to get over my ugly dog. So I'm fine with that.
Bugs is a little ugly. I think it's okay. Ali, thank you so much for being here. I'm so proud of you. I love the game. I think it's great. I think it's amazing all the ways that you can use it and how many people it's going to help. Can you tell people where to find it?
Yes.
Where to find you?
One, there's a link in my bio. I'm at Ali Saarela, ALSAAREL. Also, it's called Just a Phase Card Game, and the website is Just a Phase Card Game. So you could look that up. And I hope that it brings people really strong connection. And if it does, please tell me. It means a lot to me to hear about it.
And we'll put the link in the show notes as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Thank you for being here.
Yay.
Thank y'all for listening to today's episode. As always, help us spread the gay agenda by writing an Apple review, rating us on Spotify, and sharing it with everyone you've ever met. Made It Out is produced and edited by Matilde Jordan and worked on solely by lesbians.
Sex in the bathtub. Logistics do not make sense. There's soap in my mouth.